going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Transformative change that of the likes of which has never been seen before in the history of humanity, making the Industrial Revolution look like a little tiny blip. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. Yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. This is Elon, who says things like this: don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out. So, on that pleasant note,
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And you just heard Jordy Rose on the power of AI. And you guys who've been with me from the beginning, I did several videos on him. He was one of the first people to work on these supercomputers, to actually get them complete. And it was called D-Wave. You had Google, you had NASA invested. Please go watch those videos. I'm going to do an extended video in my Patreon on this subject. But as we see Facebook turn on this supercomputer, guys, it's a bigger agenda behind it. Not just a parallel quantum financial system that we know cryptocurrencies are going to be running. We know XRP, XLM, Bitcoin Lightning, those global cross-border payments for the emerging markets. Only thing I have to do is go watch my videos on China's Belt and Road and all the countries that are associated with it. And we know majority of these countries are going to have their own stable coins. But guys, when it comes to AI, you have to think deeper. You're going to have a robot that's going to know everything about you. That's the whole point of Facebook. All this social media, they know everything about you. I can't emphasize enough. And this is going to be turned against you. This is going to be man versus machine. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. Now, when it comes to the market, we know Bitcoin and cryptos took a big hit this year. Why? Because we know the Fed has to pull back. They have to build this fourth industrial revolution. They're in charge of these robots, algorithms, and drones that's going to take humanity out the picture. But we have Scaramucci on CNBC. He's not going to tell us the reason why. He's a hedge guy. And he says, yes, he's invested in MicroStrategy. But we know a lot of this money is coming from Morgan Stanley. but also a hedge guy is ready to short you in 2 seconds. They are going to make money whether the market goes up or down. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
You've been obviously quite public and outspoken about Bitcoin. The price is now close to, frankly, 50% off of its all-time highs. What are we supposed to make of this? What do you make of it?
Well, you know, Jim was just talking about the 2000 NASDAQ debacle. Of course, I lived through that, and many things got decimated, but quality things lasted. You know, you could go back through Amazon as an example, 8 periods of time where it dropped at least 50% since its inception. Yet if you had a $10,000 investment in Amazon on its IPO, Andrew, it's worth $22 million today. So I think ultimately it's about buying quality and recognizing that Bitcoin, and I've said on this air many times, it's not a store of value at this moment. It's not technically a currency at this moment, but what it is an early adoption technology, an early adoption technical story. With that, there's going to come a lot of volatility. And so I wouldn't have predicted what happened in 2021, the China mining shutdown, but then also the $3 billion of purchases by Elon Musk through his companies and his personal investing. And so this year, I'm not going to be able to predict what's going to happen, but I'm willing to venture that more people will own Bitcoin on 12/31 of this year than they did prior. And Bitcoin is going to have, in my opinion, half a billion wallets, possibly 1 billion wallets as we get to 2024. And so people should ride this stuff out. I think it is it's nonsensical to expect just a asymmetric 45-degree line in any story as new as Bitcoin.
You know, one of the things we've talked about, though, is a lot of proponents of Bitcoin have been telling investors, especially retail investors, to, quote, stack and to keep stacking. And this was, of course, in the 40s and the 50s and the $60,000 range. MicroStrategy obviously almost has a levered stacking strategy. Would you be buying now at this point? And by the way, would you buy into a company like MicroStrategy as a Bitcoin?
Well, we own Yes, well, we own MicroStrategy through our ETF CRPT. It's one of our largest holdings. We also have unit investment trusts with First Trust that we hold MicroStrategy. We see it as a proxy for Bitcoin, but I'm not recommending leverage. I would never lever an asset like Bitcoin because of the volatility and the uncertainty. And so retail investors, I think people are saying they want them to stack and hold on and think of it the way we should have all thought of Microsoft or Apple or Google. It's that good of a technology. It is a transformational event. If you and I really study the blockchain and we recognize that these securities, these cryptocurrencies, however they're going to eventually be deemed by the SEC, are going to delayer the economy and make the economy more efficient, then I think Michael Saylor is ultimately right that Bitcoin represents digital energy, digital property in that landscape, and people are going to want to have that on their balance sheet so that they can make those transactions. But please do not lever Bitcoin. Bitcoin is too volatile. It would be like levering Amazon back in 1998, 99, and 2000. And I wouldn't recommend it, Andrew.
How much of the argument?
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, So therefore, we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.